Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the first segment of the night. It's Hot Take. This is the segment where we come at you with less fucks given than a Liberal MP who thinks that repercussion is a type of instrument. Despite the fact that the news cycle has conveniently moved on from this, despite all the outcry, here is just a short list of all the assault scandals that have come out from the government in recent months. Brittany Higgins claimed a former Liberal staffer of senior rank assaulted her in a female MP's desk. Craig Kelly had 6 women formally issue complaints against him, including one who was 16. There was a rape allegation against Attorney General Christian Porter. A senior Liberal staffer was recorded masturbating on a female MP's desk. Andrew Lamming harassed multiple women online, including taking photos up a woman's skirt in public. He apologised for the incident, then later said he didn't know what he was apologising for. He went on health leave, saying that then he needed privacy, so he does know what that means. Scott Morrison then asked him to take an awareness course, which is the pot telling the kettle, how good is irony? A whistleblower in the Liberal Party said that escorts were being brought into Parliament for Liberal MPs. And finally, Michael Johnson was caught sexting a sex worker in Parliament during question time, offering her $1,000 to come to Parliament, including sending her a lewd video, which I imagine is a video of him jerking off, or as Liberals like to say, a government handout, in the sense that it's only okay when it's done for them, not by them. Big one. And I think it is particularly damning that even a short, summarised list of all the allegations that have come out runs longer than the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And just like the Snyder Cut of Justice League, this shit is coming out 3 years too late. This is ridiculous. In response to the Brittany Higgins allegations, marches were planned across the country, known as the March for Justice. When asked whether or not he would be attending, Scodum said that he would not be, and instead decided to go say hi to the Parramatta Eels at an NRL game. In case you're wondering, Scott, no, you don't say no to a women's rights rally and then go to see NRL players for the same reason you don't say no to a Cowards Punch rally and then go say hi to NRL players. The Venn diagram of violent drunk chauvinists and NRL players is a black eye. He also came under criticism after realising that after his wife Jenny spoken to him, was only then he were able to realise the true severity of the case with Brittany Higgins, because it's only real for Scott Morrison once it applies to him, like bad weather when he was about to go on a cruise. What do you mean something stopped the boats? This is a travesty! And also, you just do whatever your wife Jenny says? What are you, fucking Forrest Gump? Like, your life's like a box of chocolates. Expensive unless your parents pay for it. He then also went on record saying, in response to the protest, that even in other countries now, protesters are being met with bullets. Yeah, Scott, in other countries, protesters do get shot. And in better countries, so do the leaders. And without Jenny around, we wouldn't even know to feel bad about it. Isn't that crazy that Jenny has already proven herself a better Prime Minister just in the brief couple of glimpses? Why isn't she just Prime Minister? She's clearly more capable. Like, why am I speaking to the assistant manager? Do you know what I mean? In response to these accusations, Scott Morrison has not removed Christian Porter from his position as Attorney General. Instead, he's shifted him to another portfolio, the portfolio of science and technology. So now he can have credible allegations and climate science put in the same department of things he doesn't believe in. He's also unveiled a new front bench that will feature more women, which I can only imagine is just the creme de la creme of all the only available women of the Liberal Party at short notice. What a team up that would be. Oh my God, that's a real Justice League. Sorry, I read that wrong. It's just us? You got to say it like a New Zealander would. Finding women in the Liberal Party is just the most upsetting game of Where's Waldo you've ever played in your life. Like, yeah, you can find them, but it's not a win. Like, if you want a real challenge, try and find the Where's Waldo with Scott Morrison at a women's rights rally. Like, that's hard. Or even harder still, Scott Morrison in our bushfire edition. I'll give you a hint where to find him in a completely different Where's Waldo about Hawaii. as much as this is bad inside of government, it is actually not much worse outside. Statistics show that 2.56 million women will be physically assaulted and 1.47 million will be sexually assaulted since the age of 15. And before we get any bros in here saying, well, what about men? To quote what I'm sure was at one point a serious contender for a Tourism Australia slogan back when ScoMo was Minister for Tourism, Australia, let's fucking go there. In 2018 to 2019, 97% of police recorded instances of assault had a male perpetrator. 93% between the times of 2017 to 2018 had a female listed as the victim. What's even more startling is that estimates from 2016 in the Personal Safety Survey say that 1 in 5 women will have hospitalizations from the result of their most recent instance of assault or violence. And finally, the Australian Bureau of Statistics said in 2015 that all of these will be a drastic underestimate because only 19% of women come forward with reports. And now we move on to the real big issue. Not a big issue in the way we know about it, forcing homeless people to sell magazines in lieu of government support. This is the real big issue, being the failures of the Australian police in reporting assault. In the 10 years leading up to 2017, there were 140,000 reports of assault allegations recorded across Australia. 12,000 of those were removed by police because they didn't think it happened. 30% of them were considered resolved in the form of an arrest, formal warning, or caution. 25% were decided to be unsolvable or not solved, and 30% were cleared. Now, cleared doesn't mean solved. Cleared just means that the police didn't think there was enough evidence to put forward these things, which is ridiculous because you realise that in New South Wales alone, there was 1 in 20 of these reports being removed after the women. We had 12,000 of these reports were removed by the victim. Another 30% were considered cleared, not to say that they were solved, but just that the police felt they didn't have enough evidence to actually formally press through with charges. Now, that's a particularly interesting thing because we realise in Queensland, 1 in 4 instances of these reports were withdrawn by the victim, whereas New South Wales, 1 in 20. And we have to ask ourselves, why are 2 states so close together having such a huge discrepancy? Is it really likely that in one state it's 4 times more likely that a woman is making up these kind of claims? Or are the boys in blue treating reporting assault like the last season of Game of Thrones and just kind of pretending it didn't happen? The reality is that politicians and police have an incentive to not go through the reporting because it makes their crime stats look better. The reality is conservative estimates say that 1 in 5 women will be raped at some point in their life. This is an epidemic, and we've tried protests, we've tried petitions, we've tried formal pleas, and nothing is landing on Scott's ears. But there's one way that this hasn't been framed, and I think it's a means that is lacking in any semblance of humanity, compassion, or empathy, but I think that's probably the only way that it will get through to Scott Morrison and his self-proclaimed economic managers, and that is that violence against women costs money, Scott. It costs a lot of money. Now, you claim to want to be the economic manager of this country and do whatever it takes to keep us going despite this. Well, here are some facts that hurt your precious economy. 8% of rapes happen at work. That's lost productivity. It's estimated that violence against women cost Australia $21.7 billion in 2015, and that number has only gone up. Over 80% of women and over 30% of men who experience sexual violence have long-lasting effects from it, including PTSD, and over 100,000 children every decade are at risk of becoming part of child exploitation for sex. Now, why does that help the economy or hurt the economy? Well, if there's one thing, ScoMo, that your friends at Hillsong will tell you, pedophiles don't pay tax. So if you claim to want to be the party of jobs and growth, then you better start looking at rape and assault. And yes, of course, we should focus on women first because that's the most pressing issue. If we tackle the biggest one, our society is based on a triage of need. If we tackle the most serious issue first, it will bleed into other issues. If we have stronger domestic violence laws, that helps both men and women. More funding for family court helps fairer decisions being made. And more funding and resources in preventative measures means that we don't have to deal with the symptoms at the outset, which can scar families, generations, and communities for years to come. We do have to leave it there, but to quote Jenny Morrison on her honeymoon, just because I'm done doesn't mean I've finished.